Hi, everyone. Welcome to SBR Sports Picks. His name is Jimmy the Bag. My name is Peter Loshak. This is the Loshak the Bag Show for Thursday, November 30th, the 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 o'clock Pacific version. Jimmy the Bag and I rolling along. Jim, actually yesterday, normally you go as I go and I go as you go because we tend to make similar picks. Yesterday, though, a little bit different. I don't mean to bring up some unpleasant news. The good news is you continue to roll in college basketball. Very impressive research. Your reasoning is extremely sound, to put it mildly, in college basketball. Coming off another 2-in-1 day in college basketball, but the volatility bit you in NHL. 3 underdogs, all of them lost. 0-3, 3 units in the NHL. A little bit of a loser in NBA. So overall yesterday, including college basketball, I was 12-7 plus 4.2 units, but most of that came from college basketball. Jim, you were 5-8 minus 3.3 units, but still, again, profitable in college basketball. So overall, you're kicking ass in NFL, and we will talk about the NFL game tonight. You're kicking ass in NFL, which is the big prominent sport. You're kicking ass in college basketball, which is a sport that can be beaten day in and day out. Just having a little bit of trouble with the day in and day out professional sports as of now, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, over 150 games. Right. I'm barely under in. Actually, now I'm about 4.5 units down in hockey.
Let's see. And we will throw those records up. But yeah, in NBA you're still up. You're almost dead even in NBA, and in NHL you're down a little bit less than 5 units, 4.8.
Yeah, man, I got 4 puck lines. They're going to get me out of that tonight, man.
Indeed, Jimmy the Bag. But you're not losing faith or losing energy or losing excitement or losing enthusiasm or any of that shit, are you, Jim?
No, I'm just having problems sleeping when I have losing nights.
Believe me, I hear you. I totally hear you. I totally friggin' hear you on that. Yeah, and it's just that the NFL can be beaten because it's your research can do as much as the statistical modelers can, and college basketball can be beaten for the same reason. The research actually sometimes trumps statistical modeling, but when it comes to the day in, day out professional sports like MLB, like NBA, like NHL, same thing with MLB. I find I have the same issues. The professional modelers have an edge. Your research can be very valuable, but at the same time, as you know, you've seen this every day. You do your research, you think you have an edge based on research, and then the game just like completely doesn't matter. And it's like your research was like missing something, but you don't know what. Do you know what I'm talking about when it comes to those day-to-day professional sports?
Yeah.
Whereas like in college basketball and in the NFL and even in college football, your research is in college sports and in the NFL, the research is very solid, predictive, and you're usually getting most of the important factors.
I agree. I find the first 6 weeks of the NFL season very difficult. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if I look over the last 11 weeks of the year, I find I'm always in the black in those 11 weeks. So it's important that I don't screw myself too much early in the season. And that is different than college sports, because I think that you can find angles that are blatant in the beginning of the year in college basketball.
Absolutely. I think that's absolutely right. And throughout the entire season in college basketball, actually. All right, so let's get into it. We do have a bunch of picks today. In today's show, we will get Jim's opinion on NFL, which he definitely feels he has a good lean on. Later on today, we'll be previewing UFC 218 with Andreas Hale, and I thought I'd throw in a UFC segment in the afternoon show at 6 o'clock. What do you think about that, Jim?
Sounds great.
UFC, it's going to be a great card. And, once again, at 6 o'clock, we'll dig into the college basketball card in depth, and most likely have more winners. I killed it in college basketball yesterday. Jim killed it in college basketball yesterday. So that's very nice. College basketball saving our asses this year. All right, the good news, or maybe the bad news, is I do think I'm seeing a bunch of plays that I'm liking, though, in both NBA and NHL. So let's get into it. I guess we're gonna hit NHL first. So let's throw up the NHL record, Jim. Of course, you love that volatility, so you're gonna have your ups and your downs. My record pretty solid, 65-60 plus 5.8 units plus 4.2% ROI. Jim, again, down 4.8 units on the year, but could easily make that up. What the hell happened yesterday? I thought the Blackhawks were low-hanging fruit 2 days ago. I thought that St. Louis was they not low-hanging fruit? What the hell happened? Where did Anaheim come from? Where did that come from?
They also lost Silverberg last night.
Yeah.
So now they have 7 of their top 9 forwards out of the lineup. I mean, if you look at all the games, all the NHL games that we think are low-hanging fruit, we hit a very high percentage of them. Mm-hmm. So it's okay that things went against us. But I was shocked. I mean, the Ducks came out to a 3-0 lead. We also sort of saw that with the Bruins when they were playing all those AHL guys. And you mentioned it. You mentioned when these guys can come up,
yes,
that they have so much energy and excitement, and that and that carries over for only 2 or 3 games. So I still see the Ducks as a very fadeable team. But maybe not next game.
All right, well, let's get into the game. Say there are a bunch of picks that I'm looking at. There's one thing that concerns me, Jim. How are you sitting next to me looking like this and you're able to keep it together? You're able to take me seriously looking like this?
Man, you look great.
I look great, right? Thank you very much. Let me just get some comments. People liking it. Yeah. Luis Chavez Miranda says Pete's look is amazing. Thank you very much. I'm feeling good today. Donald Trump. There you go. All right. Luis Fernando Esquinza says Pete is still on the LSD hangover. McCogster says Tropical Pete. Thank you. Loshak Reno Cicero says, Loshak, you look like the real Cheech and Chong. I think this is a pretty hip look, Jim.
Oh, yeah,
I think this is hip as hell.
Oh, yeah, man.
I wouldn't be wearing this if I weren't doing well in my picks, though, because that's what's most important here. All right, let's get into let's get into the NHL here, Jim. A bunch of plays I think I'm seeing that I think I'm liking. The first game, let's talk about Toronto-Edmonton. We know that in general we have Edmonton pegged as a team that is overvalued, right? A team we in general want to fade, even though we've gotten burned doing that a little bit recently. Toronto, obviously a great team this year, had a little bit of a losing run recently, but then went into Calgary and got a win after that losing run. And now they're a very, very low line here against Edmonton. There's also some issues with Edmonton's goaltender, Cam Talbot. His availability might be in question. Why would Toronto not be a great pick here, unless we think that Toronto will, for whatever reason, come in complacent and not give it 100% here?
It's not easy to sweep Alberta, and they look very good beating Calgary. There's going to be an enormous amount of attention on Connor McDavid by the Leafs. David versus Austin Matthews, #1 overall pick in 2015, #1 overall pick in 2016. If you look at the supporting cast, you see why the Leafs are so much better than the Oilers. You also see how the Leafs front office is so much better than the Oilers. The Oilers have scored 67 goals this year, the Leafs 92. The Oilers' 2-game winning streak they're on right now matches their longest of the season. Now, Cam Talbot has an upper body injury, may not play tonight. And I think Oilers fans probably don't want to see him in there. His numbers have improved slightly. 10-10-1, 3.00 goals against average, .903 save percentage. The Leafs are simply a very good hockey team.
Yes.
If they add a top 4 defenseman, they will make a deep run in the playoffs. 16-9-1 overall, 8-4-1 on the road, 7-2-1 in their last 10. Only the Lightning have a better goal differential in the Eastern Conference. But in saying all that, it's not easy to win these games on the road. And
right.
I was really leaning to the over and talked myself out of it in the last couple hours.
Yeah, it is a tricky one. My sense is just Toronto is just so much better here that we want to bet them now. On the overnight line, of course, it opened Toronto -105, and the line has moved in their favor, which is not surprising at all. Now they are a small favorite, which makes me a little less excited, but I'm going to take them. If it loses, it loses. But we have Edmonton circled as an overvalued team overall in general. We know how awesome Toronto is. My only concern here, which as I do think is a real one, is that a team as good as Toronto, elite teams in all professional sports, at times can get complacent and get bit, especially, as you said, in a spot like this on the road, on the second road game after having won the first one. So they could be complacent here. It's not a great spot for Toronto. My sense is just that the talent edge is too different, is too great, and the line is so low. So I'll take Toronto -1. The Greek has a -110 on the money line, and the puck line part of that will be +240. Also at Intertops. Intertops has the best line. Intertops and BetDSI have the best lines for Toronto on the puck line. Intertops, friend of the show, sponsor of the show. Thanks so much to Intertops for providing us with the best puck line for Toronto today. I'm taking them. Toronto -1, -110 on the money line, +240 on the puck line, Jim.
I can understand the angle, but I'm concerned.
Yes.
I'm concerned about back-to-back games in Alberta.
Absolutely.
It's tough to sweep it, but I see it makes sense what you're doing.
I'm concerned as well, but it's a calculated risk. And that means that if I lose, I'll be okay with it. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? All right. What for the other games, there's a bunch of plays I'm also liking. What are you liking that has jumped out at you, Jim?
Well, I like quite a bit on this hockey card.
Me too.
And first off, I really like the number I'm getting on the Washington Capitals, and I'm taking them on the puck line. The Caps are well rested. They haven't played since Saturday night and have won 3 straight games since they reunited Backstrom and Ovechkin. Ovi has 5 goals in those 3 games. Backstrom has assisted on 4 of those. Now Tom Wilson plays with them, and this is such a great move to put Tom Wilson on this line. He has speed, size, toughness. He's the perfect guy to play with them. He's going to constantly be creating space. They've scored 12 goals in those 3 games they're united. And if the Kings didn't start out their road trip with a 4-1 win over the Red Wings, we would not be getting this number. We are clearly getting this big number just because of that game. They have The Kings now have back-to-back wins after losing 7 of 8. Which team are they really? Somewhere in between. Kopitar is playing very well. 12 goals, 16 assists, 28 points in 25 games. He scored 12 goals in all 76 games last year. Quick is anchoring the league's second-best defense, league's top penalty killing. That's why those numbers are so good. 2.28 goals against average, 9.29 save percentage. I think this is a great spot for the Capitals with a huge number.
That's what I was thinking as well. My only concern was that Quick is really playing legit awesome right now. And I guess I'm just concerned that he can steal this game, or that he's likely to steal the game.
He's capable,
right?
But this Capitals power play, which hasn't been that good this year, is going to get better just because Backstrom and Ovechkin are going to get to play all game together. And they're the magic. They're the straw that stirs this drink. And do you trust Holtby? Holtby's been a little bit off recently. I was looking at some of his numbers. Off recently, but not off at home. Right. At home, his numbers are spectacular. There you go. Jimmy the friggin' bag with the research with no hesitation. Look, I thought the same thing, Jim, and I will go on that one with you. Jim's going to take the puck line. You want that one? Yes. It is plus 236, and I'm going to take him on the -1 line. The money line part of that will be -125 at Pinnacle. That's the best line. And the puck line, again, plus 236. So I'm on Toronto -1 and Washington -1, and Jim's going to be on the puck line again. One other slight question. Do you think the extended break hurts Washington? They had a bunch of wins in a row and then a long break. Do you think that hurts them, or they come in here sluggish, or no problem? I think we're starting to get to the time of year where teams need practices. Mm-hmm. So I think both in the NHL and the NBA that the rest are good now. I know we talked about it earlier in the year that we thought these 3-day breaks and 4-day breaks weren't helpful. And now I think we're at the time of the year where it is helpful, where you can practice, get healthy. So I've switched that ideology from not being sure if it's helpful to thinking it is very helpful. Okay. And also I was thinking maybe, again, about an under or a first half under. Again, Holtby's good at home, like you just said. Quick has been good, legit. What do you think maybe about is it playing it too cute to try to take a shot with the first half under here with Washington, LA? No, I was definitely leaning under in this game. All right, I'm going to take the first period under in this one, and that is going to be -116 at Pinnacle. Once again, I just think the Quick is really good. Again, if it loses, it loses, but you got two really good goalies in there. LA doesn't really score that much, and feels like it might be a little bit of a tight, tough, slow-paced game to start, right? I agree completely. I think it'll be a tightly played game throughout. So if that's the case, then why do you like the puck line? Why not just take them on the money line then? Because I see a 3-1 game or a 2-3. I think the Capitals will be able to score if they can get on the power play. I do not think the Kings are the team that beat the Red Wings 4-1. I don't. That was a closer game than it looked. They scored 3 goals in like 2.5 minutes. Yes. Okay, Jim and I in agreement. Let's move on. What else do you like here, Jim? I am going to fade my hometown hockey team once again. I'm going to take the Predators on the puck line. The Predators are 10-2-1 in November. They have 18 power play goals in their 11 home games. The Predators lead the league in penalties and have allowed 11 third-period goals in their last 7 games. So it's not all fucking roses. They have a ton of depth up front and on D. Pecorine is playing great. He's 14-3-2 with a 2.29 goals against average, 928 save percentage. This is the 6th and final game of the Canucks road trip. It started well with wins over the Pens and Flyers, but they've now lost 3 straight. This is a very difficult Eastern road trip. Now they're coming back west, but it's very, very difficult. They allowed 3 goals in the first period to the Islanders. Nilsson was in goal for that game, so expect Markstrom back. I think Nilsson is, clearly he's having a better season than Markstrom. I just think that a very difficult spot for the Canucks and a really juicy one for the Predators, so I'm going to hammer the puck line. See, I was thinking that maybe the over might be worth the shot here. What do you think about, or the first period over? I think that is, well, it clearly was the play the last game the Canucks played. Right. So I could see that happening again. I think Markstrom is susceptible. I've thought that most of his career. Now, he was the goalie of the year in the AHL. Usually those, about, 3 years ago or so, usually those guys can become elite goaltenders in the NHL. Markstrom has not made that jump. I think the Predators puck line here against the Canucks at the end of this trip. I watch the Canucks very closely, and I just think this is a great spot for the Predators. See, I was thinking that maybe the Canucks, I was thinking that the line's just too big. I mean, we've seen obviously they've been struggling recently, but at the beginning of the road trip, they were a good bet as a big underdog. And I was just thinking that similar to what we saw yesterday with Anaheim. That Anaheim game yesterday was really locked into my head, because that's going to be in my head for a long time, because I thought that was just a great spot for St. Louis, even as a big underdog. But like I said, I was like, what am I worried about here? I'm worried about that Anaheim is just so pissed about how they've been losing that all the stuff kind of goes out the window, and they come out and give a strong effort regardless of who's on the ice. It was a very insightful thought process that you had.
Yeah,
and
it was a thought.
It was a
question.
Thought. Yeah. And I remember you talking about it. And we saw the Bruins do the same thing. So it's a sharp play and thought process to have that, and maybe missed an opportunity there.
Yeah. The total is very low. It's just 5.5. All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. Again, Jim and I add picks or pull them back on the other side in the 6 o'clock show. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to take the first period over on this one. Let me find it.
Austin Geist says he's on the over as well. He said the Ice Guys made a great case for the over in Nashville.
Yeah. I'm going to take the first period over. It's just right now minus 102 at Pinnacle. So I'm going to take the first period over 1.5, minus 102. Thinking about Vancouver on the first period just because, they're a big underdog. A lot of, a lot more coin flippiness and randomness when it comes to just the first period than the full game. I can understand why you would like Nashville here. I'm just mulling it over in my head, Jim. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
I'm thinking about taking more of these huge NHL underdogs that on paper look like they're going to get blown out, and it seems like it's a no-brainer play to take some team at minus 210, and then in retrospect, it turns out that the big underdog that was just playing poorly was the play.
We know there's a lot of parity in the NHL, and I think you'll be successful in the long run doing that.
All right, so I'm going to take, for now, the Nashville first period over minus 102, and Jim, you're going to take the puck line, right?
Yep.
Okay, best line will be plus 165 at a bunch of places. Pinnacle, Bookmaker, UWager, blah, blah, blah. All right, so Jim's going to take Nashville, puck line, plus 165. All right, so now let's move on to another game with also a huge underdog on the road. Might be tempting to take, although it's not as big of an underdog as it was when I was looking at it this morning, and that is Vegas. That's Arizona against Calgary. That's the game that I want to bring up here. Obviously, Calgary. Arizona has Calgary got popped by Toronto in their last game, and they're not a bad team, but they're definitely a beatable team, right? Arizona lost 3 of their last 4, but we remember that they were doing well a bit earlier, and maybe as a big underdog here, might be worth a shot. What do you think?
I'm on the other side. Mm-hmm. We knew that the Flames, coming off that longer road trip, were going to have a tough time in that first game back, and Mike Smith said it, to the reporters that he was concerned. The Coyotes are coming off a 3-2 loss in Edmonton on Tuesday night. I think the Flames are a better team than the Oilers. 25-year-old Scott Wedgwood is playing okay in relief of Antti Raanta out with an upper body injury. He's 2-3-2, 2.99 goals against average, 901 save percentage. That's okay. The big issue with the Coyotes is that I like their defense. Mm-hmm. I've said it all year. They have a good defense. And now Nick Halmerson, who may be their most important defenseman, left the Oiler game with an upper body injury, is unlikely to play tonight. The Coyotes are tied for last in the league with Buffalo Sabres, but are 4-4-2 in their last 10. They have the worst goal differential in the league. They've allowed the most goals in the league. Now, the Flames are dealing with injuries to Chris Versteeg and Jaromir Jagr, and I don't think that matters at all. Mm-hmm. I am surprised they are both still receiving paychecks in the NHL. After going 3-2-1 on their 6-game road trip, they came back lost. This is a bounce-back spot for them tonight, and I'm taking them on the puck line. Okay, I was also thinking about the over in this one as well. Puck line for Calgary, best line would be plus 152 at Pinnacle right now. Calgary, puck line, plus 152. I was also thinking, similar to the other game that we just mentioned, the Vancouver-Nashville game, about the over and the first period over. What do you think? I think there will be goals here. I just am not sure how many the Coyotes will score. Right. You don't think the Coyotes can. But Smith has been worse at home than he's been on the road, right? You're right. But he has played quite good this year, and he's a team leader. He's a vocal guy in the dressing room. And I am not going to trust this Coyotes offense until Max Domi starts playing the way I expect him to play. And he's got 2 goals this year. It just, I will not trust. When they have Clayton Keller leading their team scoring, I mean, much respect to Clayton Keller. He's having a hell of a rookie season, but that Max has got to step up. That first line for the Coyotes, I think, is trash. The only way that line can be good is if Max is on it with Derek Stepan, and they're just a mess right now. I think the Flames will roll tonight. Yeah, all right. The total is now up. It's up at 6, so I'm going to think about that one. I'm thinking about the first period over, and I'm thinking about taking Arizona on the first period money line as well as a big underdog. But again, I won't give any of those for officially right now. I'll hold off and think about it. We'll get to the rest of the card in a second, but just to review the picks so far. Jim's on 3 puck lines: Washington plus 236, Nashville plus 165, Calgary plus 152. I'm on Toronto -1, Washington -1, Washington first period under -116, and the Nashville first period over -102. Let's quickly get to some comments, and then we'll get to the rest of the games on the card.
Let's see. Let me see. Okay, a lot of funny comments. I'm looking right now for handicapping comments on these NHL games. There we go. Luke Charleston says defense won't be there. I see it going over. I think he's talking about the Arizona Calgary game.
Yeah.
Yes. Good breakdown, Jim. I'm more on the total. Yes, a lot of people talking about the total. Luke Charleston says Flames take care of business. So Luke Charleston seems to be agreeing with my lean to the over and your pick on Calgary. Let's see. McGogster says over and Arizona on the money line. Okay, everyone seems to agreeing with the over. Some disagreement as far as where the value might lie. Brian Watson says Talbot out, take Leafs. Yeah, I'm really liking that one. I understand that it's not a great spot for Toronto, but I'm really liking Toronto there. Let's see. A lot of Austin Guy says money coming in on the under in Nashville now. Is there an injury we don't know about? I don't know. We will look into it. All right. Let's see. Okay, let's move on. Other NHL games tonight: Vegas against Minnesota. Obviously Minnesota is coming off of a loss, and off two blowout road losses. Vegas is coming off their loss to Dallas, which is that Father's game. But they had won 5 in a row before that. The question is was Vegas overachieving with their winning streak, and are they a good bet as an underdog here, or are they about to go on an extended run of losing, and Minnesota is in a good bounce back spot here?
I think Minnesota is in a great bounce back spot here, an absolutely great bounce back spot. The thing with the Knights is that they don't have the depth to handle any kind of injuries. Now, they've been playing over their head, and much respect to what they've done. But now David Perron is out, third on the team in points, missed his second straight game, unlikely to go tonight, and they just don't have the depth to replace him. So after the Wild had 3 straight shutouts, they are now on a 7-game stretch where they've allowed 30 goals. Gabby's not going to allow that to happen. He's not that kind of coach. He's a very vocal, loud, emotional coach. He's going to tear a strip into these guys. They lost to the Jets 7-2 on Monday. They were up 2-0 after the first period and then fell apart. They got Charlie Coyle back, then promptly lost top 4 defenseman Jared Spurgeon. But I still think they have enough. And the Golden Knights lost 3-0 to the Stars on Tuesday night, snapped their 8-game home winning streak. It was the first time they've ever been shut out. I think this is a great spot for Minnesota, and I'm on the puck line. That's what I was thinking as well. I'm going to take Minnesota -1. All right, so Jim's going to take the puck line. The puck line, best line right now is plus 179. Plus 179 at Pinnacle right now. So that's a 4th puck line for Jimmy the Bag, plus 179. If you win 2 of those, you'll have a nice little profit. If you win 3 of those, oh boy, big day for Jimmy the Bag. And I'm on Minnesota -1. The money line part of that, it's a little bit high, but that's what I was thinking, that the spot is great for Minnesota. And I was thinking, do I want to lay this number? And thanks to Jim's in-depth analysis right there, I have made the decision, yes, to go on it with him. Money line is -162 at a bunch of places. And again, the puck line plus 179. So I'm going to slight plus money there, line for Minnesota -1. And once again, I was also thinking maybe a shot with the over here, or at the very least, the Minnesota team total over. What do you think, Jim? They're such a strange hockey team. They're so hard to figure out. When they were scoring, they were getting it all from that first line. They were getting no scoring, no secondary scoring. So I just don't 100% trust their offense, but I expect their defense to step up. And I expect the Golden Knights to have more trouble scoring. We went over their shooting percentage numbers, and it is clear by those numbers that it's completely unsustainable, this offense. Right. Okay, and then let's move on to a Dallas-Chicago. This is a tricky game. It's going to be a pass for me. Dallas a bit more rested, but both teams have been winning recently. I don't know. I guess my first thought is that after that Dad's game for Dallas, Chicago might be the play here. But, Dallas can obviously win a game. I'm not sure if I want to take Chicago as a pretty decent home favorite. What do you think, Jim? This is a tricky spot. I agree. And I believe the Dad's trip is still going on at this point. I believe now. I couldn't. It wasn't in anything I could read, but I believe it's still going on. But yeah, the Stars snapped a 4-game road losing streak in front of their Dads, becoming only the second team to go into Vegas and get a win. Ben Bishop looked great, 34 saves in the shutout. The Blackhawks played pretty well in that 3-2 loss to Nashville. Before that, they were 5-1-1 in their last 7. The Blackhawks are a healthy squad, but they are in the midst of an extremely busy part of their schedule. The toughest part of their schedule for the whole season is right now. And that gives me pause. They're 9th in goals per game, 5th in goals allowed, 5th in penalty killing, and 23rd in power play. When they start clicking on that power play, look out. In saying all that, the Stars were extremely impressive in Vegas, and they have the kind of the kind of elite talent on the top that they can
win a game.
They can win.
Exactly. That's my note. My note is, Dallas is not a team that I feel really comfortable betting against. You know what I mean? Especially as a favorite,
Absolutely.
All right, so it's going to be a pass for you?
It is.
All right, and then the only other game on the card did not have an overnight line, so I did not look at that. Montreal, Detroit. Did you look at that one, Jim? Do you have anything to say about that one?
Yeah, it's a tricky spot, too. Habs are riding a 3-game winning streak coinciding with the return of Carey Price. He's allowed 2 goals on 102 shots since he's returned. They've outscored their opposition 8-2 in those 3 games. Now, strangely, and the reason why there was no line, and I can't figure out what it is. No one can at this point. Strangely, Drouin, who scored on the penalty shot, was the game's first star, did not travel with the team to Detroit, and nobody knows why. I'm curious if any of you guys know why. Wings are on a 5-game losing streak, but as we said a couple days ago, 3 of those losses were overtime or shootouts. That was a bad loss to the Kings on Tuesday. Zetterberg has now not scored in 18 games, longest goalless drought of his career. Wings are 23rd in goals, averaging 2.7 a game. They could be a good hockey team. They're close. They're 8th in power play, 4th in penalty killing. They're a great coach. They've got young, big forwards, a good defense, good mobile, strong defense. I'm waiting for the Wings to be a team that will give us value, and I'm uncomfortable with this spot.
Okay, so let's just review the picks right now, and we'll get to some last-minute comments on these hockey games. And I'll review the picks. And once again, we're doing this show once again at 6 o'clock Eastern time, so we might be adding more NHL picks. We might be pulling NHL picks. This is just what we've got for right now. These are all official picks. Jim's on 4 fat puck lines here. Washington plus 263, Nashville plus 165, Calgary plus 152, and Minnesota plus 179. And I'm on a bunch of those with them. I'm on Toronto -1, Washington -1, and Minnesota -1. I'm also on the Washington first period under and the Nashville first period over. Let's get to some comments. Let's see. Looked like Dom Ricci says, looked like Vegas was due for a home beating. Not sold on Stars. Leave it go. Yes, we're passing on that one. We are passing on that one. Drouin is out. Okay. Canadians ride them. Big Cat likes Montreal tonight. Okay. Let's see. Small Thrill says, love your hockey breakdowns. You simplify things that can seem complicated. Excellent. Thank you. That's a great comment. Yes, absolutely. I break down the numbers and the overall betting perspective. Jim does unparalleled research on this shit, and I feel we do good analysis in a relatively short period of time. I mean, in 20 minutes, we'll cover a whole entire friggin' card with solid advice and usually winning picks, Jim.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying? All right, let's see. So talking with your dad's this time. Yeah, you don't like that guy Ben for Dallas, do you?
Well, I unfortunately he's a BC boy. He's from Victoria, and I despise him as a person.
Right.
He's done a couple things, said a couple things in the media. He did one radio interview where he made references to how the Sedins fuck each other and sleep with each other, and these are guys that have put $6 million in the sick kids hospital.
Right.
They don't go at the clubs, and they're like, the people that you can really believe and trust in.
That's interesting. Do you think that it's got to, in some way, affect your handicapping? It's got to make you a little bit less likely to bet on Dallas, right?
Well, no. I've tried to take that stuff out of it, and you see me bet on Dallas.
Yes,
I bet on Dallas this year. Another thing he does is on his Twitter, which he's now being banned from, I believe, he would drop all these ridiculous things. Like he would switch around first letters of words so that we wouldn't know what he was talking about. So he'd be like, he'd call out a player on his team and be, I heard you don't bunch mocks instead of a munch box, think that the 10,000 followers you have wouldn't notice what the fuck he was talking about. He's just, he was picked in the 5th round, and he was clearly had first round talent.
Right. I wonder if his dad's as much of a dickhead as he is. Probably, right?
Well, I mean,
who knows?
You think that the way you're raised is very important, but
maybe not.
He's an awesome talent, a big boy, soft hands. He's got it all, but he doesn't have it up here.
Okay, well, let's move on. That's it for NHL.
Can I just say one last thing about the NHL card?
Yeah,
the last time I was in a bad unit situation in the NHL, I took 3 home puck
and look what
lines,
happened.
And I went 3-0. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but I have 4 home big puck lines, and I feel like I'm in a very good spot on this card.
Right. No, I mean, listen, as we said, when you take big underdogs, you're inviting volatility, and that means big swings, big ups, and big downs. You know what I mean? I don't like that. I prefer things to be close to minus 110, whatever I'm picking and betting. So that's why I take the reason I take these -1 and +1s for volatility reasons in some senses, but also it's just to keep my mind to avoid volatility and to keep things a little bit less up and down.
To
you know
sleep
what I mean?
okay at night.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here we go. John Rodriguez says, I got some indoor Gorilla Glue for you, Pete. Wow, the hydrocrons. I love it. The indoor shit. I love that. I like the outdoor shit, Jim. You know the difference between the indoor shit and the outdoor shit?
Of course I do.
Yeah, I only know that because I knew some stoners growing up. But okay, let's move on to NBA. We are here to make picks, not shoot the shit and waste time. Let's move on to NBA. There's a bunch of picks that I'm liking in NBA. We'll see if they wind up cashing. Let's throw up the NBA record, Jimmy the Bag. My big controversial pick yesterday with the Spurs game over, it cashed, right? No problemo. I'm 57-43 in the NBA right now, up 10.5 units, 10.5 units. Jim is 68-66, up a half unit, which is fine. And a couple winning days in a row, and you'll be way in the black. Let's see if you can do it, Jimmy the Bag. Yeah, yesterday, that was interesting. And it's interesting that Justin Searcy doesn't appear to be even in the chat box at all today. Maybe he's
he's here.
Oh, he is?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, listen, look, I mean, I didn't think it was a great pick. It was just like, my numbers said it was a good bet, and I thought it was a good bet, and so I went with it. If it had lost, other people were predicting a 93-79 type game, and if that had happened, I would have been like, okay, I was wrong. What do you want me to do? All right, so we got 5 NBA games tonight. 2 of them did not have overnight lines, so I did not look at them. The first one that's very interesting, Cleveland and Atlanta. Now, we have kind of been wrong with Cleveland, right, recently. I mean, I cashed the under on that game with Miami, but a lot of people saw Cleveland with big value against Miami, very obviously. We did not see it, and they were right.
They were right. A lot of the guys that we run with have been right about the Cavaliers often, and I've been wrong all season. Yeah,
and it seems like their overall factor here is just that after the bad start to the season, LeBron is pissed not on a one-off basis as he is sometimes during normal regular seasons, but for an extended period of time, and that until this run of hot play cools off for Cleveland, LeBron's going to pretty much be showing up every game. Here, though, they're giving a lot of points to Atlanta, who's off a blowout loss. They're very well rested. I don't know. I'm tempted to take Atlanta here plus all those points, but I've gotten burned fading Cleveland recently, so I don't know if that's a smart play or not. What do you think?
Well, the loss of Dwayne Dedmon with a leg injury is enormous.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't playing as much as I would expect him to, and I would have played him, but it's a huge loss. So Luke Babbitt is back in. Mike Muscala is still questionable. So it sounds like they're going to move John Collins to the 5, which is a huge responsibility for the kid, but he does have the skill set to do it. Because Dedmon's out of the lineup, I just can't go against LeBron right now. But I see the spot. It seems like a spot where it would work, but my God, is LeBron just taking it upon himself? It's clear that when Kyrie left, he was like, okay, fine, leave. Watch what I can do. I'll buy my fucking self. Yeah. Now Boston still is a great squad, but Cavs have won 9 straight. They've won back-to-backs for the first time all year, Monday and Tuesday, creeping up to the Celtics. All this without Thompson, Rose, or Thomas. Shumpert is unlikely to play. The Hawks beating the Cavs in this year early is really fresh in their memories. They're now defending the perimeter. They're allowing 99.8 points a game over their winning streak. It's a tough spot. To bet against this Cavs team right now. They are rolling. And with Dedmon out, I would never do it.
And with Dedmon out, you think that, because I was thinking about the under. Now, the Hawks have been a big overtrender at home. We know that. But I was thinking that this might be a little bit more of a mild scoring game than the market's giving credit for. I was thinking about the under, and I was also thinking maybe about the Hawks on the first quarter, just to come out here and maybe LeBron takes it easy for the first 12 minutes, maybe.
Interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, I think if there was ever a spot where they'd be susceptible, I would say it'd be in the first 12 minutes.
Carlos Luders likes Cleveland first quarter. Okay. Atlanta doesn't have a big man. So do you think that the lack of Dedmon might mean that the under is not as good of a play as it might be with him in?
You know what? John Collins is a great young player, and he's going to be taking a whole lot of responsibility now, and I'm looking forward to see it. But yeah, Dedmon is just a much better. He's just a bigger body, He's just he's a more talented rim protector at this point in his career than John Collins. So
All right, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take a shot with it. The under 215.5 minus 110. It is a split line, 215 or 215.5 market wide. Tons of places have 215.5. Intertops has 215, but you wager, 5 Dimes, sports betting, bet online, bet DSI, and bookmaker all have 215.5. So I'll take that one. The Atlanta under 215.5 minus 110. Even though Atlanta has been a big overtrender at home, they're coming off a game where they got blown out, and they're talking about how embarrassed they are about how awful their defense was, and I just think it's a pretty good spot for an under. And maybe I'll throw on the first half under later on in the 6 o'clock show, and maybe I'll throw on Atlanta on the first quarter, but we'll think about that. Carlos Ludus likes Cleveland on the first half. And then the other game, let's talk about it, Milwaukee against Portland. Now, Milwaukee did come back after being salty, after all the yelling between the Greek Freak and the coach and all that. It absolutely blew the Kings the F out, right?
They did.
And I think that's pretty impressive because the Kings have been, again, they were coming off, it was a letdown spot because they were coming off the win against Golden State, but they've had a bunch of good games in a row. So I'm kind of impressed with what Milwaukee did. Portland is now coming back off of a long road trip. This is another one where Portland has been a very strong under-trender at home, but I'm thinking that Milwaukee may have found a little bit of extra life offensively in their last game that'll carry over into this game. It's a modest total, 202, and I'm thinking about the over here, Jim.
I was burnt so many times with the Blazers games going over early in the year, but I did look very closely at these two, the overs of the two late Pacific games, very closely. Now, the Blazers are putting it all together. I think they are a great basketball team, and wait till the Chief comes back. They're coming off a 4-for-5 road swing. Last year, they were 21st in defensive rating. This year, they're second. I mean, the coach said that the best thing about the road trip is that their offense is kicking back into gear, which really does make me think about the over. Now, Pat Connaughton, he's looked awesome coming in at small forward. Lillard referred to him as the MVP of the road trip, 4th-round pick of the Orioles, fastball that can touch 98. I think he's a heart and soul guy. We saw him in college. He's just a heart and soul guy. This Blazers team, I think, is a special group. And they're going to be a much, much more difficult challenge for the Bucks. And I like the Blazers here, and I'm taking them. Okay. Milwaukee coming up that giant victory. They shot a season-high 59.2%, recorded 27 assists. Bledsoe finally looked good in the Bucks uniform. But I think this Blazers team is very good.
Okay, so you want the Blazers -3. Bookmaker has -105. So Portland -3, -105 is the best line available right now. Again, I am using SBR odds here. SBRodds.com to line shop, which is essential if you're hoping to make money in sports betting. If you're just doing it recreationally, then not that important. But if you really want to make money, line shopping is essential. We've seen that countless times. Last time we saw that was when, Jim? In the last Milwaukee game, right? I gave the over. It was a split line, 199, 199.5 or 200. So I took 199, and of course it landed on 199. So if you line shopped and got 199, you got a push. If you didn't, you got a loss. And of course the line actually dipped below 199 later on in the day. So if you waited and checked SBR odds, you could have gotten 197.5 or 198. So line shopping absolutely matters. Portland -3, -105 is going to be your pick. And I am going to take the over here, and I'm actually liking it enough that I will double up. And if both of them lose, that's fine. But I'm going to take the full game over, which is 202 plus 100. And I will take the first half over, which, again, line shopping, especially on NBA halves and quarters, is huge because the market is often, the books are often, off by a half point or a point book to book. This line is 103, 103.5, or 104 market wide. So, of course, I will take 103 -110 on the over. If you wanted the under, you go to Heritage, you get under 104. And that for half times in NBA is, of course, very big deal. So I will take the first half over 103 -110 at many books. I'm on this one two ways, Jimmy the Bag.
Angel Romero says that over is money in the bag. Loshak, it's going to be a great game with enough scoring. Ramville has predicted the score. Says Portland wins 108-101, which would hammer your over.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean we don't even have to have like a ton of scoring at just 202.
Now Rosa, our friend Rosa says Portland under. But everybody else is on both the over and likes Portland. Now, Tolmore thinks that I'm slightly overrating Portland. And yes, I'm not just talking about them beating Wall, or the Wizards without Wall, the Knicks without Cantor. I just think this team has such a good, sound defensive spots. They're so sound defensively. And if you mix a defensively sound team with Lillard and McConnell at the 1 and 2, you're going to win a lot of games. You're going to win the close games. You're just I think this Blazers team is very good.
Okay. All right. It makes me a little bit nervous as well. Not necessarily because I think you're overvaluing Portland. I think you might be undervaluing Milwaukee a little bit, because when they get a program, because what they've had up till now is basically the Greek Freak and 4 guys and trying to figure out how to make it all work. And as we've seen many, many, many times in the NBA, year in and year out, chemistry is the most important thing, not individual talent. Individual talent matters when both teams have chemistry. Now, if Milwaukee starts to figure out some team chemistry to go along with the Greek Freak's awesomeness, then you're going to start to see a really impressive team. And you don't really need any other 4 players who are just average NBA level will be good enough. What you need is a system that everyone's buying into and chemistry.
I think you're absolutely right. I'm not saying that isn't happening and that Milwaukee can't be a good team with such a stud like the Greek Freak. I'm just saying that the Blazers are a better basketball team than the Milwaukee Bucks, and they're at home. Okay. And I don't need to deal with a 6 or 7 point spread.
Yeah. Okay, I was also thinking about the Milwaukee team total over, but that would be tripling up, so I'm not going to. If they don't cash that one, then I'll be very nervous about the others. So Jim's taking Portland -3. I'm on the over 202 and the first half over 103. Then the Chicago-Denver game, I have no opinion on it. The other games did not have overnight lines, so I did not look at them. From the other 3 games on the card, Jim, any picks you want to give us?
Yes, from the other 3 picks on the card, I am taking the Utah Jazz to defeat the Clippers this evening. I know both teams are on 3-game winning streaks, and I know the Jazz they looked awesome in this last 3 games, but, it's easy sometimes for this team to come together at home. They won their 3 games at home by an average of 27.3 points. They weren't playing very good teams, but it looks like they've overcome the Rudy Gobert injury due to the great play of Derek Favors. Now they head out on the road where they are 1-7. They all know that they are 1-7. They talk about it nonstop. Now they have a huge amount of injuries. They're already without Gobert, Joe Johnson, Dante Exum. Now Rodney Hood and Raul Neto are unlikely to play. Even without them, I still think they have the pieces to defeat this banged-up Clipper squad. Playing, no Blake Griffin, no Beverly, no Gallinari, no Teodosic. I was breaking down these rosters, and I still like this Jazz roster without 5 very important players to this team. And I just think that Jazz can control things. Okay, it's 2 or 2.5. Actually, it's 2.5 everywhere, but Pinnacle has 2 -113, so we'll give you Utah -2, -113. Again, line shopping. If this one lands on 2, that's another example of how line shopping matters so much in sports betting. We're going to give Jim 2 -113 at Pinnacle. Jim? Even Donald Trump is with me. Yes. Says the Utah Jazz game is easy money. Take Utah straight up and -2. Okay. Up, but here we go. Angel Romero says, not sold on the Jazz playing poor teams. Alonzo Jennings says, Jazz win easy. I was waiting to see the line. Very interesting. Tomarino Tomor, Clippers without Beverly have no one to guard Rubio, so he likes it for sure. Wow, great comments here. Let's see. Angel Romero says the Bucks are being undervalued. I'm looking at. Then John Rodriguez says Greek Freak gets in foul trouble. Then what? Good point there. Of course. Let's see. B. Simpson says I get burned by Portland every time, however I play them. Right? We all have those teams. Yeah. Milwaukee needs this game, says Tomarino Tomor. Very interesting comments here. Carlos Luder says Portland owns the boards. Wow, a lot of back and forth and disagreement on that Milwaukee-Portland game. Very interesting. And a lot of talk about how good Utah is coached. There are a lot of comments on this, 2 or 3 already. Tomor here says Snyder's a very underrated coach. Utah keeps winning with players leaving and hurt. Utah's playing great, and their offense has been much better the last couple games. I think now, as we see in all sports, some teams can really step up when they're dealt with adversity and losing players. And the loss of Blake Griffin is a big thing. But the Jazz are decimated as well. They're both teams need to step up. Very interesting. Gigi says, I took the Jazz earlier. Wow, excellent. And then where is this woman's name? I just want to read Rosa's name because it's such a cool name. But she also had a comment that was pretty good. Where the hell is that comment? Yeah, it's great capping with Rosa. Where was that comment from Rosa? Rosa had a good comment, and I just saw her name. All right, we'll have to move on from that. Rosa Drew Lilio Jameson. Yeah, she likes Portland. Portland will be ready. Yes, Rosa Drew. Where is that? Rosa Drew Lilio Jameson. Wow, that is as cool a name as they come. Yeah. Holy crap! All right, so let's move on. Anything else you want to add from NBA, Jim? No, the Bulls-Nuggets game looks quite daunting. Denver's back home, where they're 8-2 on the year. They looked awful on Tuesday night at Utah. They were leading at halftime before putting up just 28 points in the final 24 minutes. Plumlee called the team out after the game. Millsap injury appears to be a devastating blow. Wilson Chandler is out with a back injury. Juan Hernan Gomez is starting in his place. And then the Bulls seem to be trying to fix their issues in the dressing room. Mirotic addressed the media, said he accepted Bobby Portis's apology. Now, David Nwaba could be back tonight, and I'm shocked at how important he ended up becoming to this team. But they've lost 6 straight, 11 of 12, and I don't know what to make of this game. It's a tough one. And then the 76ers at Celtics. Embiid is not cleared to play back-to-backs, won't be in the lineup. TJ McConnell just suffered a shoulder contusion, and I really love the way he's been playing. Simmons was a game-time decision last night. He put up 31 and 18 and went 15 for 29 from the free throw line and cost a lot of us a lot of money. Thankfully, I hit with the first half. If I hadn't hit with the first half, which is something that you've got me on with the Sixers, I would have been extremely angry.
Even as a favorite. Look at that. What did I tell you? Look at that. Even as a favorite, they're cashing in the first half more than the full game. It's how that team is, and until further notice, I'm not saying every game that's the case, but I'm saying overall on a big span of games, it's just something I noticed really early on last year with Philly. We saw it over and over and over again. They would be a big dog and they'd be winning at halftime, and you think like, wow, all right, this is in the bag, and then it would come down to like the last possession. Sometimes they would cover, sometimes they wouldn't, but the first half was always where they were much better ATS wise.
And in the beginning of the year, you kept saying it, and I kept seeing it.
I know.
I kept watching it, and I thought, well, I got to get on this fucking train.
Yeah, it's very, 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 very interesting. Okay, let's see. Any other? Vishnu A says Bulls under 209. The play here. Okay, wow. Delta 75 also says Bulls 92, Nuggets 107. So he's liking the under as well. I did not look at that game, so maybe I will like the under as well. I just didn't have time to look at it, and I passed on it. Anything? Wow. Donald Trump says, yeah, Sixers first half plus 4.5 is just too tempting. All right. So any other picks you want to give, Jim?
No, that's I'm ready to rock. That's it.
Did you give a pick on the Sixers Celtics game?
No, I did not.
No, you did not. Okay, so you've just got 2 picks here, Portland and Utah, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's wrap up and move on. Jim has Portland -3, -105. Very controversial pick. We'll see how it turns out. And Utah -2, -113. Most people strongly agreeing with that one and loving it. And I am on the Atlanta Cavs game under 215.5. The Portland game first half over 103 and the full game over 202 plus 100. And that's it for me in NBA. All right, let's move on to NFL. Of course, a big game tonight, Washington and Dallas. I have no opinion on this game yet. I didn't handicap it too hard, but Jim definitely does. Wanted it so much that he took a detour in yesterday's show to make sure that he locked in Washington -1, which we gave him, and that's a good thing you did it, because right now you would not be able to get -1. It's now 1.5 or 2. If you had taken it right now, the best line would be -1.5, -104 at Pinnacle. So once again, very nice job, Jimmy the Bag, on beating a line move in NFL.
I should have done it on Monday and got plus 1.5, so I still feel like I made a mistake. And I think that's the mistake that I'm making too often. And it's you're always going to be making mistakes in this business, and the best you can do is try to limit them. But I think the biggest mistake I'm making is not hammering these lines when I have the opportunity, being lazy or whatever it is, or contemplating things too much and not hammering it when I think I've got an angle. But yeah, I think this is a great spot. Now, it's my best bet and beat the bag. I've hit 6 straight best bets, 6 straight weeks of positive units.
Wow. 6 straight best bets and beat the bag.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I've turned it all around. In the last 6 weeks, I've moved about 20 units. And I'm now in 70th place, and I've got eyes to keep moving forward. Wow. And the last 2 weeks in a row, my best bet has been fading the Cowboys. I said all year, over and over and over again, I said it last year, over and over and over again, that Dak Prescott is not a good quarterback. He is a game manager and a below-average quarterback. He had the best running back in the league and the best offensive line in the league. You give anybody that, and they're going to be successful. Dak has not thrown a TD since Zeke's suspension, but has thrown 5 interceptions. Now, Rod Marinelli does a great job. Crawford and Lawrence can dial up pressure. Sean Lee's the heart and soul of this defense, and he's hurting. Cousins is good enough to get it done here. Crowder and Doxson will get open for him. Samaje Perine has back-to-back 100-yard games, and I'm going to put a sizable bet on this as well. And I've been waiting because last night when I wanted to make it, the line's actually kind of improved on some sites. And unfortunately, the sites I have to use, the line has actually improved in the last 12 hours for me. And I'm going to make a sizable bet on the Redskins.
Okay, all right, but it's 1.5 or 2 right now. -1 is the line that you got yesterday. Very nicely done, Jim. I did not look into this game too hard. I'm just focusing on college football and NFL and college basketball and everything else right now, and of course UFC. I think I'll have a few nice picks, but Jim, and the other reason that I didn't look into this game too hard is because I was just like, wow, Jim really has a strong opinion here. I'm not going to even. We got our strong opinion on the Thursday night NFL game covered, right?
This is my best bet.
I don't want to go against you, and if I agreed with you, it would just be redundant. So I was like, this is all Jim right here.
Happy to take the lead.
All right, okay. Let's get to some quick comments, some awesome comments. Here we go. A really nice comment from Walla Walla Dose. You guys rock. I wish I could comment more. Get that cake. Thank you so much, Walla Walla Dose. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that comment. Let's see. A lot of comments about the clothes we're wearing. A lot of questions about MILFs and pussy and Tinder. You just don't really have time to someone. Kale Reeves saying, Pete, you're going to get so much more pussy with that hat. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will go out this weekend and wear this hat and maybe make a couple videos and see if I do in fact get some pussy with this hat. That'd be an entertaining video. People would like to watch that, right?
What kind of video are you speaking of?
No, I'm talking about a normal video with fucking at a party with me talking to chicks in like a sharp suit and this hat. Stash blazing in the hair. Make a couple videos like that. Post it, just see how it goes.
I want to see the after video as well.
Interview them and see what do you think about a guy with this look, I guarantee you what they'll say. They'll say like, well, maybe if you cleaned up a little, they'll say maybe if you trim the mustache, because they don't want to say shave it, which is what they really mean. But we'll see. Maybe we'll make some videos this weekend, Jim.
Maybe if you could get through all the moaning.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Jimmy the Bag. All right, so Jim, needless to say, is on Washington big time for the purposes of our record keeping here. We're giving him -1. He wanted it earlier in the week when it was +1, and now it's up to 1.5 or 2.
Can we throw up our NFL record?
Oh, excuse me, Jim. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let's throw the NFL record up because this is a very pretty. And once again, Jim is killing in the two most important sports, NFL, which is the one everyone looks at, and college basketball, which is the one that is legitimately beatable. Look at that. 25 and 16, plus 7.7 units, plus 17% ROI, Jimmy the Bag. And even I'm 17 and 11, plus 4.5 units, plus 14.5% ROI. So we are killing NFL. And if I had to pick two sports for you to be killing, Jim, it would be college basketball and NFL, which you are absolutely doing. Very nice job, Jimmy the Bag. Loving the Redskins tonight. Right now, -1.5 or 2. Hopefully those points won't matter. But if they do, SBR odds is where you can go to get the best current line at any given moment, at any time of the week. Shall we move on now?
Yep.
All right, college basketball. See, now Jim's smiling. See, first we were talking about NBA and NHL. Now we're going on to NFL and college basketball. And Jim's like, so we just threw up the the NFL record, showing Jim's beautiful record in NFL. Now we're looking at college basketball. Let's throw up the college basketball record. Let's throw this. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit right here. Jimmy the Bag. 52 and 37 is what I am. Plus 12 units, plus 12.3% ROI. Jimmy the Bag, 19 and 9, plus 9 units, plus 31% ROI. Look at that shit right there, Jimmy the Bag. Wow. Killing it in college basketball. And I can guarantee you that those records would not be nearly that good without the awesome insights from all the posters and commenters and Big Man on Campus and all the. I mean, you should really check out the second half of our 6 o'clock shows. We break down these college basketball games in depth, not just Jim and I's opinion. Jim does a ton of research. I have my number shit here. And then we have Big Man on Campus, who's joining us every day now, and all these commenters who know their own shit, and they all post their insights, and we sit here and we aggregate them all, and the record speaks for itself, Jim.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is so important to note. It's so important to note that it's because of you guys and because of Big Man on Campus, because we're working together. 500 heads are better than one, and we're showing that, and we're improving our life because of it.
Look at that shit right there. Jimmy the Bag up 9.3 units and only 28 picks. and I'm up 12 units. Unbelievable. Yesterday, I actually tweeted out one play that was a loser, but I always gave picks up to 7 o'clock games, and then I was captain games up to the 8 o'clock, and I nailed those games too. I had a bunch of other picks that I could have given that just got too late because it's minute by minute by minute. But anyway, tonight's college basketball card, it's a smaller one. That makes me think that Jim's gonna be able to wrap his entire head around this entire card, and I have a lot of great things to say. When we do this show at 6 o'clock Eastern time, I'll have some things to do as well. As of right now, I have not been able to look at this card at all. I'm going to dig into it later on today, and I'll also be digging into a UFC. You can watch the UFC preview video with Andreas Hell. It's going to be coming out later on today, but I will also recap what we say in a UFC segment in today's 6 o'clock Eastern time show. So it should be a good show tonight. We'll have a lot of great stuff to say about a modestly sized college basketball card. I'll have some UFC shit to say. We'll be looking at the line moves on all the picks that we've given so far in NBA and NHL. Jimmy the Bag, have you looked at today's college basketball card at all? Got anything to say about any of these games yet?
I have, and you're right, Pete. This is something that I will have every single game capped. Every single one of them with this schedule. This is something that is attainable. It's not like yesterday. So far there's a lot of talk already about Seton Hall being a lock tonight and all this stuff about Seton Hall. Let's talk about this game. Texas Tech starts 5 seniors. So does Mercer, and I put it right in their drink hole, fading them. But it's important to have 5 seniors. The Red Raiders rank in the top 5 of the nation in scoring, defense, and defensive field goal percentage. And that's something that's going to allow Texas Tech to keep climbing in the rankings. I believe all year they'll keep climbing. They've held 3 of their 6 opponents to 50 points or fewer, and they have guys coming off the bench. They have 6'5" freshman guard Jarrett Culver. He's come off the bench and averaged 19.5 points, 4 assists, 3 boards, 2 steals in the last 2 games. Now, those are wins over Wofford and Savannah State. But before that, they beat the then 20th ranked Northwestern Wildcats by 36 points. Clearly, Seton Hall will go as far as 6'10", 245-pounder senior Angel Delgado will take them. And he is a great player. He's averaging 14 points, 9.3 boards, but there's some bigs over in Texas that they don't have a big anywhere near as good as them, but they got Zach Smith, they got Tommy Hamilton, they got Norrance Odiasi. They will help. And Kedin Carrington has looked really good making the transition from shooting guard to point guard, and Desi Rodriguez is playing extremely well, averaging 17.8 points per game. This is going to take more study, but man, this is a very exciting game, and I think all you guys are on Seton Hall, and I get it. And a lot of you guys are on the over as well. I get it. I'm going to need to study this game more.
Yeah, I mean, there has been a huge line move in that game. It opened Seton Hall as a small dog +1. Now they're up to 2 or 2.5.
Yes.
So we'll see what this line is by 6 o'clock. If that line movement continues, there won't be any 2s at 6 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And then the big game, come on, Notre Dame at Michigan State. Gods, it's going to be fun. So the Spartans lost to number 1 Duke 88-81, then beat North Carolina by 18. And we just saw what North Carolina was capable of yesterday. The Spartans' defense was extremely good versus the Tar Heels, holding them 24.6% shooting, forcing 16 turnovers. Now, they did commit 24 turnovers themselves in that game. Miles Bridges is getting more healthy after the sprained ankle. But, man, their number 1 recruit, 18-year-old 6'11" Jaren Jackson is averaging 10.7.5 boards and will be facing Bonzi Colson. It's going to be an extremely difficult matchup for him. I don't know how he's going to be able to pull this off. And this is going to take more study. Okay. But after beating LSU by 39 points, the Irish beat Wichita State to win the Maui Invitational. They outscored the Shockers by 15 in the second half. Matt Farrell was the MVP. A very, very, very exciting game.
Okay, all right. Bookie Lover Q says Seton Hall is not a lock, Jimmy. Okay.
And I never said that Seton Hall was a lock. In fact, I didn't even put a pick in.
There you go. Jimmy's getting intense right now. Absolutely. He's like, there's a lot of fucking hard work that went into this 19-9 record, and I'm doing this a process here. Okay? Respect the process. Jimmy gives his opinions, and then finally he makes his official picks, and that is the process that has resulted in a 19-9 record. Right, Jimmy the Bag?
It's been working with you guys, working together, yes.
So, Jimmy did not say Seton Hall was a lock. Bookie Lover Q. Okay, point made, point made. Then Jansen Bonzone says, fuck, you give all those stats and no pick? Come on, Jimmy. Jansen Bonzone, respect the process. Okay? There's a reason Jimmy has been able to go 19-9 in college basketball so far. There's a method to the madness. He will have picks at 6 o'clock Eastern time, right, Jim?
Right.
Okay, probably. All right, okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Yes. Tree Nguyen has a very interesting comment here. Did you check that comment? Tree Nguyen, his comment is, I love you, Peter. Thank you so much. What a sweet comment. Aw, thank you. Respect. Tree Nguyen. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You know I love these comments. All right, let's see. All right, Lee Davis says, fellas, I live here in Lubbock. Tech has a squad with 4 Ds. Okay, Delta7575 says those stats are meaningless. This is going to be a great game. Okay. All right, Cody Brown says, I tried to tell everyone yesterday, UNI is not to be overlooked. Iowa native. I agree with that, Cody Brown. I wound up on the over in that game, which I think only cashed because of overtime, but I cashed with it, and I did have Northern Iowa yesterday.
Nice.
Was he talking about Iowa or Northern Iowa? Yeah, I had Northern Iowa. Yes, definitely. DJ Boss, Big Boss Sky, Notre Dame +6. Any comments? Yes, we'll be breaking the hell out of that game down at 6 o'clock Eastern time. As of right now, Jim has just given his opinion so far, and we will break it down a lot more. Jansen Bonzone says I took TTU, and then there was let's wrap up the show on this one final comment that I did see that was awesome. Omizim Daraber. Yeah. Omizim Daraber says, this is the only time we can stick together. I love it. Absolutely. With all the dissent and fighting and war and stealing and crime and rape and argument and disruption in the world, what in the end is bringing us all together? Sports handicapping.
Making money.
Comment of the day, Ozim Daraber. That is it. Comment of the day. Thank you so much. Great comment there, Ozim Daraber. Thank you so much for everyone who watched the show and commented and gave us tips on all of these odds and lines. Let's review our picks just to make it clear what we all have. Of course, Jimmy the Bag has the Washington Redskins -1, which he gave yesterday. In the NBA, he's got Portland -3 and Utah -2. In the NHL, 4 puck lines. Washington +236, Nashville +165, Calgary +152, and Minnesota +179. And my picks for the day, in NHL, Toronto -1, Washington -1, Washington first period under, Nashville first period over, and Minnesota -1. And in the NBA, Atlanta under 215.5, Portland first half over 103, and the Portland full game over 202 +100. And of course, we will be back doing this all again at 6 o'clock Eastern time today, where we will review the line movements, add maybe to our picks, and of course, break down the college basketball card and give a whole bunch of picks from the college basketball card coming up tonight. That's going to be at 6 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock Pacific, right here, same channel.